Reports indicate Djokovic may have claimed his previous COVID infection made him eligible for an exemption to the vaccine requirement. Meanwhile, his wife says she's taking a deep breath to calm down.
Apple has disclosed the pay raise that CEO Tim Cook just received. Cook made nearly $99 million last year. That's a 569% raise from the previous year. Most of it came from stock awards. He was paid nearly 1,500 times more than the average employee at Apple.
Coming up, new questions about where the Super Bowl will be played.
Also ahead, why these people seen partying on a plane are now stranded in Mexico.
Now streaming on ABC News Live, 2020, true crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable, follow the clues, The Hunt, true crime, 2020, now streaming on ABC News Live.
We are together.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime, Nightline.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
World News Now.
And America This Morning.
The best new video.
Breaking news overnight.
Your money and concerns about inflation.
The pandemic is not over.
The stories people are talking about.
You want to shake your legs? Don't. I was gonna say. And what to expect in the day ahead.
From the top of the world, baby!
ABC World News Now and America This Morning.
Weekday morning starting at 2 a.m. Eastern.
Up all night to keep you up to date.
It was an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do they catch her for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
Is that the gun?
That's not a gun.
What is it? I won't ask you again then. Are you a Nazi?
The deeper you go into black markets,
People see a life like this.
the darker it gets.
Why hasn't anyone come out and spoken?
It's about the money, that's all we do.
Trafficked. New episodes Wednesdays at 9 on National Geographic.
Back now with a party on a plane that ended with a terrible hangover. The passengers on this chartered plane to Cancun who posted videos of themselves partying without masks are now stranded in Mexico. At least 3 airlines are refusing to fly them back to Montreal, saying they violated COVID travel restrictions. The Canadian government says they could face thousands of dollars in fines.
COVID restrictions are raising questions about whether the Super Bowl will have to be moved. The game is scheduled to be played outside Los Angeles, but the NFL has reached out to other stadiums, including the home of the Dallas Cowboys, to check on availability in case Southern California imposes new restrictions. Los Angeles County officials say they expect the game to go on as planned.
We turn now to high school sports and the debate over running up the score. One basketball team is in hot water, and now the coach is being disciplined. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii.
This morning, a high school basketball coach is suspended after leading his team to a 92-4 victory. Sacred Heart Academy, a Catholic girls' school in Connecticut, also apologized for its lopsided win against Lyman Hall. The school's president saying the game does not align with our values or philosophies, and they're deeply remorseful for the manner through which the outcome of the game was achieved. The team was undefeated and ranked 3rd in the state. Now, Coach Jason Kirk must sit out 1 game. It's just the latest example of a coach criticized for a blowout. A football coach in Inglewood, California this past fall led his team to a 106-0 win. The principal later apologized for the coach's, quote, lack of integrity. Inglewood went on to the playoffs where their opponent's coach spoke about the importance of good sportsmanship.
And maybe the most important thing is teachable moments. And I talk about all the time about how football is great because it emulates life and teaches you lessons.
But they also understood why a team would run up a score.
You get it in and get it done, and nobody wants to, face an outcome like that. You just try to run the clock and get the kids on the bus and get them home. And on either side of the score, it's a teachable moment.
But some coaches argue the more points that are scored, the higher the team's ranking at the end of the season. This is the first time the 2 Connecticut teams played each other since 2017 when Lyman Hall beat Sacred Heart. They'll play again later this month. Andrew, Mona.
Andrea, thank you. Coming up, the keyboard that could forever change how you type.
Also ahead, a very special and unusual honor for Leonardo DiCaprio.
It was an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do they catch her for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
Is that the gun?
That's not a gun.
What is it? I won't ask you again then. Are you a Nazi?
The deeper you go into black markets,
People see a life like this.
the darker it gets.
Why hasn't anyone come out and spoken?
It's about the money, that's all we do.
Trafficked. New episodes Wednesdays at 9 on National Geographic.
We are together.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime, Nightline.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know
Seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
But to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, What You Need to Know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, Michael Strahan. Wake up with America's #1 most watched morning show. ABC's
Good Morning America.
Time to check the pulse, and we begin with a keyboard that's leaving all others in the dust.
So this is called the Chara Quarter. It's an odd-looking device that works nothing like a standard keyboard, but it boasts typing speeds of 500 words per minute, a massive leap from the 40 words most people type in a minute.
Interesting. It can type entire words in a single motion. They say it's like playing a piano. There's no need to lift your fingers off the surface. Next, a little girl lifting spirits on a dark day.
Our crews covering the January 6th anniversary on Capitol Hill met Chloe Chen. The 5-year-old spent the day handing out candy bars to Capitol police officers. Chloe says she wanted to thank the officers for saving democracy.
For candy bars, it's a thank you, because they save our democracy. So we really appreciate that for making a sacrifice so big that we want to give out candy bars.
Chloe used her own allowance money to buy the candy. I think she needs a raise.
Her little voice, so cute. Well, next, Leonardo DiCaprio's work on behalf of the environment has earned him a very special honor.
He now has a new species of tree named after him. Researchers from Britain's Royal Botanic Garden discovered the previously unknown tree in Africa. There it is. The small tropical evergreen has yellow flowers sprouting from its trunk.
Its official name will be O Very Opus DiCaprio, not Jack. And finally, your pet goldfish may be smarter than you think.
It turns out they can drive. Researchers in Israel put some goldfish in a contraption that's essentially a tank on wheels for some reason, and the fish actually learned how to drive the vehicle to specific locations motivated by, what else? Treats.
The experiment suggests that goldfish can learn to navigate completely unfamiliar environments, but then they forget within 15 seconds.
Wait, what?
Top headlines.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
We're surrounded by people
Squeezing into this.
Run, urgent delivery, run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know,
Seems to change just about every day.
what is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
But to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, What You Need to Know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
World News Now.
And America this morning.
The best new video.
Breaking news overnight.
Your money and concerns about inflation.
The pandemic is not over.
The stories people are talking about.
You want to take legs? Don't. I was gonna say. And what to expect in the day ahead.
From the top of the world, baby!
ABC World News Now and America This Morning.
Weekday morning starting at 2 a.m. Eastern.
Up all night to keep you up to date.
It was an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do they capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive? Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
Checking the top stories, a new study warns cases of dementia across the world are likely to triple by the year 2050. That's unless we take steps to reduce known risk factors, which include high blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity.
The Supreme Court hears arguments today against President Biden's COVID vaccine mandate for large businesses. Meanwhile, some of his former medical advisors say Biden should change his pandemic strategy and focus on testing and treatment instead of defeating the virus.
Wall Street is awaiting the monthly jobs report due out this morning. It's expected to show more than 400,000 jobs were created last month, nearly double the number from November.
A winter storm arrived in the Northeast just in time for the morning commute. 6 inches of snow are expected across a widespread area. The same storm snarled traffic across the Mid-South. Some drivers in Kentucky were stranded for 8 hours. And checking the map, the Midwest is locked in bitter cold. Wind chills there could drop to 50 below. More snow across the northern plains and in the mountains of the Northwest.
And finally, Elmo, the lovable, ticklish character from Sesame Street, like we've never seen him before.
Hey, he's in a fight with a rock. Will Gans explains.
It's a feud going back 18 years. In one corner, Elmo. In the other, a pet rock named Rocco.
Rocco's a rock, Zoe! Rocco won't know the difference!
This week, the long-standing feud boiling over when the 2004 Sesame Street clip resurfaced online.
You can't have that cookie, Elmo. Rocco wants to eat it. Rocco doesn't even have a mouth. Rocco's just a rock. Rocco's not alive.
TikTokers and Twitter users dealing with yet another surge in cases, finding unhinged Elmo all too relatable. Elmo finally breaking his silence on Wednesday, issuing a statement on Twitter saying, "Don't worry, everybody, Elmo and Zoe practiced sharing and are still best buds forever," adding, "Elmo doesn't want to talk about Rocco." And then just hours later, Elmo tweeting what might go down as the shadiest subtweet in Sesame Street history. Has anybody seen a rock eat a cookie? Elmo is just curious. It's not an entirely unexpected move from the 3.5-year-old monster. Elmo has a reputation for keeping it 100% real and 100% unfiltered.
You want a piece of me? You want a piece of me? Yes!
Rocco the pet rock has yet to issue any kind of statement on the long-standing feud, but today, Dwayne Johnson is weighing in, tweeting, "This rock devours cookies. Tell Cookie Monster to move it over because I'm coming to Sesame Street." Looks like this feud just got a whole lot more complicated. Andrew and Mona.
Hey, Mona, can I have a cookie?
Absolutely not.
I'm not a rock.
That's a big word, from. That's what's making news in America this morning.
It's Friday, January 7th. Good luck unifying America's lawmakers when only half of them show up. We start here.
You can't love your country only when you win.
A year after an attack on the Capitol, President Biden issues a stark warning.
There's no guarantee, and we came dangerously close to losing it all.
And he wasn't shy about who he thinks is the problem. Meanwhile, major vaccine mandates face the Supreme Court.
This was the court that struck down the CDC eviction moratorium.
If you work for even a big-ish business, this affects you. And these protesters are breaking through doors and taking over government buildings. Sound familiar?
It was just the beginning. This is just the last drop of the people's patience.
Why a revolution in Kazakhstan is creating a headache for the rest of the world. From ABC News, this is Start Here. I'm Brad Milkey. When you look at big American tragedies, everyone seems to be able to agree they were tragedies. Pearl Harbor, 9/11, even attacks like the Pulse nightclub shooting, Sandy Hook. There might be questions over what policies should follow these tragedies, but nearly everyone can admit they were moved by them.
We will stop the steal.
Well, yesterday, exactly 1 year after a mob broke into the seat of American democracy for the first time in 200 years, seemingly only one party showed up to recognize it.
If we do not defend it, democracy simply will not stand.
Let us honor the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform who protect that freedom with their lives.
Capitol police officers protected Republicans and Democrats from that mob, but yesterday it was mainly Democrats serving them lunch. It was Democrats who held hearings in moments of silence, and with few exceptions, Republicans kept their distance.
Mr. President, how are you feeling about the day, sir?
Praying that we'll never have another day like we had years ago today.
So as President Biden walked into the rotunda for what he had hoped would be this unifying moment, he faced mainly members of his own party. And in speaking to them, he singled out one Republican leader as the reason this tragedy occurred. A lot of news from the anniversary of January 6th. Let's start today with ABC's chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl. John, there's lots to talk about in yesterday's events, but President Biden's admonition of former President Trump was clearly the headline here, right?
Absolutely, and it was forceful, it was direct, it was clearly heartfelt, and there was no mistaking that he was saying that the fault lies really solely with Donald Trump and his supporters.
Former president's supporters are trying to rewrite history. They want you to see Election Day as the day of insurrection.
He had never mentioned his name, by the way. He kept referring to him as the former president, or alternatively...
He's not just a former president. He's a defeated former president.
He wanted to put the focus not solely on the actual riot, the event of the day on January 6th, the people that went and stormed the Capitol, but the larger context of the effort to overturn an election, to overthrow a duly elected president-elect.
You can't love your country only when you win. You can't obey the law only when it's convenient.
And one of the more compelling moments, I thought, in his speech was when he was pointing out that Republicans up and down the ballot on Election Day 2020 actually did quite well. Republicans picked up seats in the House. They won governorships.
He can't accept he lost, even though that's what 93 United States senators, his own attorney general, his own vice president, governors and state officials in every battleground state have all said he lost.
But the issue is that Republicans up and down the line, not all of them, certainly not all of them, but prominent Republicans have either echoed exactly what Trump has said in terms of these baseless lies about voter fraud. And they've echoed it, or they have not denounced it, have not criticized it, have not distanced themselves from it. And that, in Biden's view, it's a big problem for America.
This isn't about being bogged down in the past. It's about making sure the past isn't buried.
Well, yeah, you spoke to former Vice President Dick Cheney yesterday. He and his daughter, Liz Cheney, have been outspoken.
Look, I think that the future of the country is at stake. Right. And there are moments when we all have to come together in order to defend the Constitution.
But even if you look at the investigators' details that have come out this week, it seems like there have always been prominent Republicans who did not agree with President Trump about the election, but then stayed essentially silent about him since.
I mean, in those days, and I knew it because I was reporting this on ABC News at the time, Brad. I was talking to you about it at the time.
As for what's going on inside the White House, very little coming out. I can tell you I've spoken to several people close to the president who are deeply frustrated, in fact, horrified.
People close to Donald Trump in those days leading up to January 6th, and by God, certainly after January 6th, were acknowledging quite candidly to me, most of them not putting their names attached to it, but saying that there's no basis to what he's saying.
Newly released text messages reveal Hannity, 1 week before the riot, appeared to warn Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, that White House lawyers were on the verge of resigning to protest Trump's plan to overturn the election.
But, and some of those Republicans came out publicly and put blame on Donald Trump for the riot itself, obviously McConnell and famously Kevin McCarthy.
We all should stand united in condemning the mob together.
But those denunciations feel like ancient history now.
They want to use their majority power to get people's phone records. They come from members of Congress. They're coming for everybody's thing. It's kind of amusing to me of how political they will go with this.
So as you spent the last year reporting then, as you attended these events yesterday, and now as you look forward, I guess, to reporting perhaps on another potential Trump candidacy, what did it leave you thinking about, I guess, what could have happened on January 6, 2021 and the future of this country's peaceful transfer of power?
Well, first of all, the thing that really hit home to me as I was reporting, especially for my book, was that we came very close to losing it all. It had been reported back in January by the New York Times, Trump even pressured Pence on the morning of January 6th with a crude phone call. When I interviewed Trump for betrayal, I asked him about that. There was a report, excuse my language, not mine, it was in the report, that you talked to him that morning. You said you could be a patriot or you can be a Did you really say that, or is that incorrect?
I wouldn't dispute it.
And now we've learned, that pipe bomb that was set outside the DNC, we learned how close the Vice President-elect Kamala Harris was, to if that thing had exploded, who knows what would have happened. So I am deeply concerned. We got through this. Biden was inaugurated without incident on January 20th, peacefully taking power. It worked, but there's no guarantee in this stuff. There's no guarantee, and we came dangerously close to losing it all.
Right, and what would it mean to be covering somebody running for president in 2024 if he runs again, who essentially has said he'll say the exact same things if he loses again? Jonathan Karl, again, author of the book Betrayal, and they're outside the Capitol right now. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Brad.
Next up on Start here, those highly touted national vaccine mandates you heard about, well, they were never implemented, and today they stand before the Supreme Court. We're back in a bit.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline. It's an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do they capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new Hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
National parks are incredibly safe places, but crime will happen.
My wife is cold. She's in really critical condition.
At that time, I thought it was just a tragic accident. There's still a lot of questions we need to ask. There were small things that didn't totally add up.
This is too high for Harold. That have died now. I was shocked. Something's not right.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
Seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know,
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it? Feel smarter.
feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, What You Need to Know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this. It's the time of suspicion. The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're going to move back.
We're surrounded by people
Squeezing into this bomb shelter.
Run, urgent delivery, run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
There's been a ton happening in Washington over the last 24 hours, but of course, that didn't mean anything to the coronavirus.
The United States reported the record-breaking 1.8 million positive cases.
The emergence of the more transmissible Omicron variant emphasizes the importance of vaccinations and boosters.
The most important thing that you can do to keep your child safe, your family safe, schools open, is for everybody to be vaccinated. Kids definitely included.
If your head was down, there have actually been a few developments you should know about. One, if you have a kid who's 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, they are now eligible to get a Pfizer booster shot if they got fully vaccinated.